This video is dealing with some heavy topics of the occult and the New Age. And while this information is very important to understand while you're dealing in this world, for those that normally watch these videos with their children, I do ask that you watch it first before you watch it with them. This way you can discern if it's something that you would like to show them or maybe just discuss with them on your own. Also, please know that if you're spiritually sensitive to evil imagery, please know that in this discussion, you will see sensitive imagery. This information is crucial during this time, but I do understand the spiritual sensitivity of individuals. I pray this helps who Yah has called to it, and that chains of bondage are broken, and that more knowledge is given to help others minister to the lost during these last days. I hope this blesses you. There is a real darkness in the air. I don't really know how to put it into words more than just saying that we have crossed over into a very dark period in time. There has been a shift in the spiritual realm that has given more power over to spiritual wickedness. The masses in the world are trapped under a strong form of spiritual bondage that is enslaving them. I've never seen or witnessed or even read about a time period that was so acceptant of magic, of sorcery, of witchcraft, and just accepting of pure rebellious thought. For example, in America, being a witch or warlock today is actually something that is looked at as someone walking in their true power. People today look at it and accept it as if there was never anything wrong with working with demons. Today you see people talking about their lives and achieving their goals through tapping into the spiritual. All of a sudden, everyone is manifesting something. The culture of today is all about accepting sorcery and magic, and there has been a major push to reduce the stigmatism around it. I mean, how often do you hear people talk about black girl magic? The term magic itself has been watered down so much that people don't really understand what it is that they are dealing with. People are just acceptant of witchcraft, which is why a place like Universal Studios can have both of their parks with Harry Potter lands, while they are in the works to build an exclusive Harry Potter park. It's because people love witchcraft. At those parks, people come all around the world to participate in magic, to do spells, and to learn how to do witchcraft. All of our entertainment has taken a dark turn as well. I mean, the movies and television shows are long past wholesome family entertainment, obviously. But there has been an absolute turn to darkness, like with this Doctor Strange movie that's coming out this week. The major movies of today are literally putting spells and curses on people that the masses don't have a clue of. It's time that some of these things are just called out and more knowledge is provided. In the past, in the symbol series, I've spoken about hand signs, satanic symbols. We spoke about the Baphomet. We spoke about the symbols surrounding duality. And we spoke about Masonic symbolism that is seen everywhere. But as this world keeps descending into wickedness, the more that we will see that evil is seen as good, and at a time where less people are able to properly discern evil because it just seems so normal, we need to review some symbols and tools of the occult. We need to understand what is happening in the mainstream culture and how you must guard yourself and your children from the spiritual wickedness that is at hand and continues to grow. Let's begin. Okay, so like I was saying, evil is literally everywhere. It is accepted so much that it's looked at as just normal. The world is moving towards a period of time where evil has become good and doing good has become evil. And because of this, we are seeing the normalization and overall acceptance in things that were once deemed to be evil. Now, we've seen much of this change happening in our moral attitudes about social issues. The things that were once looked down upon by the majority are now just accepted as norms of today. And this has consistently grown in influence and has had a major impact upon the world. The world has subtly accepted the doctrine of Satan, which says, do what thou wilt, which in today's language means simply, do what you want. This doctrine, unfortunately, has been casually accepted, and most people are actually unaware that they actually feel this way of, you should just do what you want. It's because do what you want is communicated in many different ways. There is every man for himself, whatever floats your boat, different strokes for different folks. One of the most common is, to each their own. And the truth is that most people have accepted this mentality because it seems to be the most peaceful. But when you apply it to evil, this is exactly how evil is allowed to grow unchecked. And this is exactly how evil has been able to grow. People accept it under a false satanic principle of to each their own, or do what you want. And then unfortunately, due to the ignorance of many symbols, tools, and practices of the occult, people started to accept things that all stem from spiritual wickedness, from witchcraft, and the occult. You see, the occult and witchcraft was rebranded under a general category of spirituality, which then later turned into the New Age. And we are at a time where New Age principles have become widely accepted, and most people don't have a clue what most of the practices come from and what they do in the other realm, the spiritual realm. Now, don't get me wrong, there are many that understand this. These are the ones that are out there selling the crystals, promoting the magic, and pushing the acceptance of the spiritual wickedness. But because people see it as harmless, even many of them believing they are doing good to the earth and nature, the majority unfortunately don't really understand what it is they're doing and transacting in the spiritual realm. And the risk is that because these things have become so normal, you or your family may by chance have unknowingly accepted these symbols, practices, and mindsets without understanding where they come from and what the real danger of them is. So that's why we need to bring it out into the light so there is at least understanding surrounding these things. Today's New Age representatives are no less occultic in their practices and rituals than any other time in our history. But because they have smoothly and very subtly made their practices and rituals more mainstream and under a general umbrella of spirituality, which most people don't dig deeper into what that actually means, the occult and esoteric ways have been disguised as pure and harmless. Very similar to how Disney took magic and made it like a colorful, fun thing. All the acceptable practices of New Age, which include meditation, yoga, astrology, tarot cards, palm readings, crystals, affirmations, and other mental mindsets like the idea of visualization and manifesting, have all been normalized for mass consumption, though it involves dealing with principalities, spiritual powers, dealing with the rulers of darkness, and spiritual hosts of wickedness. To illustrate this better, I'll go over a brief encounter I had last Sunday. On that day, I took my family out to lunch. At the restaurant, I noticed that the hostess was wearing a crystal tied around her neck. Now understand, I know why people wear these crystals, and I'll get to that shortly in this video. But for me, I often like to ask people if they know what they're doing, and if it's for a specific reason, or if they're even bold enough to explain it. But anyway, I asked her casually, what is that she's wearing? And she said, oh, it's just a crystal. I said, yeah, I know, but do you wear it for a reason? She says, oh, it gives me power when I walk in the room. It's for the sacred feminine. I thought it was ironic because I just made a video about this sacred feminine, and this girl was wearing a crystal trying to tap into her power. I just said, okay, and I moved on. The situation wasn't that deep or anything like that. I just really wanted to hear her thoughts and see if she would even explain it. But as I thought about what she said, I realized just how wicked this world is and how many people just don't know what they are doing, or the people that are even around them. They don't even know. Because there was another hostess next to her that was wearing a cross around her neck. I assumed she wore it because she was a Christian or her family was. I don't know, I didn't ask. But as the other young lady was explaining how she was dipping into witchcraft with her crystal, the other hostess was smiling in approval like it was all cool. I don't think she really recognized that her coworker was bringing spirits and demons right around her. But this is the world that we're in today, and that story is a good segue into what we need to discuss. So we'll talk about crystals first. Crystals are not harmless. They are used as tools of the occult and witchcraft. They are something that has gained massive popularity in today's modern world, unfortunately. The acceptance for most people today is only because they have been marketed under a general branding of spirituality and the New Age. Maybe you haven't really recognized it, or maybe you do see it, but have not really understood what you're seeing or why. But today, you will see men and women from all different walks of life wearing crystals or keeping them in their homes or in their office. It's something important that you need to understand, because today it is done under this accepting umbrella of spirituality. And because people just name it as spirituality, people look at it as something harmless or not a big deal. Like if you just Google wearing crystal benefits, The first thing that popped up for me is a piece from time.com that says, holding crystals or placing them on your body is thought to promote physical, emotional, and spiritual healing. Crystals supposedly do this by positively interacting with your body's energy field or chakra. While some crystals are said to alleviate stress, others purportedly improve concentration or creativity. Do you see how they explain it? They are making it seem very harmless and just spiritual. But crystals are far from harmless. They should come as a warning sign. The use of crystals dates as far back as with the ancient Sumerians, who included crystals in magic formulas. Their goddess of love, Inanna, was depicted going into the underworld carrying a lapis lazuli necklace and a rod for protection. It was believed that this was the crystal of deities, and that it would bring light and joy to its bearer. Puabi, a Sumerian princess, was buried with gemstone beads, covering her upper body to protect her soul and invite positive energies to protect her from the darkness. In ancient Egypt, as part of their burying rituals, Egyptians would place pieces of quartz on the forehead of the deceased to illuminate their path in the afterlife. For the living, in Egypt, crystals were used to enhance personal allure and sexuality. They were brought good luck, health, and enhanced intuition. Gemstones were one of the favorite spiritual tools for balancing the Ka, the person's life force, and Ba, the non-physical traits of a person, energies. They believed that each crystal had its own Ka, and therefore the power to strengthen the Ka of any Egyptian. Royalty even used ground lapis lazuli for their eye makeup to assist in opening the third eye and to achieve illumination and greater wisdom. The ancient Romans used crystals as good luck charms and in sculpture making and jewelry making. Onyx, jasper, and lapis lazuli were some of the commonly used stones, while carnelian and garnet had great popularity and were used as amulets. They carried the beads for protective purposes and used them to promote good health and attract wealth and prosperity. Crystals were used as protection during battles and were also part of their medicine. I mean, we can go on and on about their usage, but this was Eastern spirituality that derives from pagan occult practices dealing in spiritual energy. People that use crystals are doing so because they are harnessing a sort of spiritual energy. Various rocks, such as rose quartz, amethyst, citrine, and black tourmaline, and many others, are said to contain energies, enabling them to draw power, energy, from outside the body into it through the chakra points in order to cause a change in attitude or health. The claim is that a crystal structure can actually enable it to remember whatever is programmed into it by the individual using it. This energy is channeled by a crystal. You see, this all has to do with moving energy. Energy can be defined in many ways: creative life forces, moving power, ley lines, polarity, chi, etc. These are all names for occult energy, but it generally refers to the creative life forces within human beings and or outside of them. It's very much like what they talked about in Star Wars with the Force. I made a video about this as well. This energy is the power that surrounds and feeds mankind. It is a power that can be controlled by human beings through various means like crystals, cards, ceremonies, meditation, a certain diet, and yoga. This is the power source worshipped by the kingdom of the occult, and it is important to understand that Yah has revealed that this power source does not originate with him, which means that it comes through the prince of darkness, the devil, Satan. If we go back to the book of Deuteronomy, as the Israelites were coming into their promised land in chapter 18, verses 10 through 14, Yah commands Israel, "There shall not be found among you anyone who makes his son or his daughter pass through the fire, or one who practices witchcraft, or a soothsayer, or one who interprets omens, or a sorcerer, or one who conjures spells, or a medium, or a spiritist, or one who calls up the dead. For all who do these things are an abomination to Yahuwah. And because of these abominations, Yahuwah, your Elohim, drives them out from before you. You shall be blameless before Yahuwah, your Elohim. For these nations which you will dispossess, listen to soothsayers and diviners. But as for you, Yahuwah your Elohim has not appointed such for you." You see, there is a satanic power that is in this world. There is spiritual darkness and powers that do not come from Yah, He has commanded us against them. But because the days have turned so evil, people don't really see the harm or understand what it is that they're actually doing. Now, please don't mistake this. Just because there is power in this earth that does not come from Yah, this does not make the devil on the same level as Yahuwah. The devil is not the polar opposite of Yah. He is in no way equal to Yah in nature or power or anything. This is not that yin-yang nonsense. The devil is a created being. Don't ever forget that. But he is a powerful created being. If you need to do a comparison, a closer identity match to Satan with angelic power would be the Archangel Michael. I just want to bring clarity so there's no confusion. What I'm trying to say here is that the energy of the occult is the energy of the devil, and he is using it to destroy the children of Yah. And unfortunately, what we are seeing people do today is trying to harness the spiritual energy. Whenever you see people wearing crystals around their neck, or having crystals in their home, on their mantle, or on an altar even, holding it on a rod or a staff, being in the form of a crystal ball, and many other ways, this is a form of holding spiritual energy and is used to allow spirits and demons the ability to function in this world. I don't even shake the hand of anyone holding a crystal or wearing it on their neck. I wouldn't even let them enter my house, or would I enter their house or their car or anything. If you happen to be working with them, I would be in constant prayer and recite scriptures like Ephesians chapter 6 verse 12 to counteract what they are doing in the spiritual realm. You must remember that you're not battling against flesh and blood, but against principalities and spirits and demons. And your only armor is the armor that Yah provides. You see, you can't see this stuff, but it is real. Look at these witches. These ladies claim to be witches. What do you see around them? Among many other things, you see crystals. You see, it is a tool for the occult, and you must be very careful that you are not giving their spiritual wickedness access to you. To add to this, while we are on the topic, you should also be cautious of people that wear charms, amulets, talismans. These are even more spiritually dangerous than the crystals. Pins and necklaces displaying the signs of zodiac, dream catchers, the Ankh, and many other examples are also similar tools of the occult. You will see many wearing charm bracelets containing crystals in them as well. What is a charm? Just go over to Webster Dictionary and it will tell you. It is the chanting or reciting of a magic spell, a practice or expression believed to have magic power. Yeah. And an amulet is a charm, such as an ornament, often inscribed with a magic incantation or symbol to aid the wearer or protect against evil, such as with disease or witchcraft. It's crazy. This is all magic done right in plain sight. But think about how many people wear charm bracelets and think nothing of it. Most of the time, they are actually wearing magical symbols which have a tendency to attract evil spirits. This is the occult right before our eyes, but most people don't recognize it. You find very often that people are often having many problems that they can't explain. They can't understand why they're attracting certain people in certain situations in their life. Why is it that they always feel sad? What is actually going on with them? They can't put the finger on it. This is because of things like this. People are transacting in the spiritual realm unknowingly and don't really know what they are giving themselves up to. And the sad part is that this is not just from the pagan community or the declared witches. You see, they actually know what they're doing and getting themselves into. It's actually found in the Christian community that have latched on to New Age teachings, principles, and practices, and they just believe that they're adding extra power in their lives. But all they're doing is attracting and calling in the power of spirits and demons, and most of the time, they don't have a clue because these crystals and these charms seem harmless. Again, it's just a new branding of the occult, and we have to be mindful of all these things. None of this is harmless. You see how evil the world has gotten today? There is a direct correlation to how many people have been opened up to these spiritual forces when you look at how many people are carrying these different tools of the occult. You can't deny it. So while we're discussing these tools, let me cover a few more of them. Things that you may have overlooked or might just have seen as harmless or just a different way of thinking or being. Yoga. This is a big one. I can't get into it in this video, it'll be too long. I made a specific video about yoga, but there is a great deal to know. Yoga is a form of Eastern spirituality and should not be practiced by a believer. Watch this video after to understand the topic more in depth. Channeling. People use this very often and don't really know what it is that they are saying. Channeling is a modern word for what was once known as medium's trance. What would happen is that during a seance, a medium falls into a different state of consciousness or trance. At that point, the medium would then communicate messages from beings in the spiritual realm. If you ever watched the movie Ghost, this is exactly what she was doing, Whoopi Goldberg. Her character was actually a fraud until she really opened herself up and was exposed to the spiritual dimension. After she opened herself up, she couldn't turn it off, and there was a whole bunch of other spirits besides Patrick Swayze asking her to speak for them. Channeling is the opening of oneself to demonic possession, and it's a spiritual door a person should never open. But you hear it often in our music and our television entertainment that people are doing so. You'll always hear actors trying to channel someone else. When they are doing this, they are letting in demonic energy that provides them with proper skills to really hone into the role. This is a common practice today. Most actors do it. And because it is said so casually, people just think of it as an expression or it's just really going hard into their art.
We're lying in bed and we're rehearsing the astronaut Garrett Breedlove scene. He's explaining to Aurora what it was like to walk on the moon. She's loving it. And then we launched into the first take, and two voices came out of you. Do you remember this? Two voices, and they were simultaneous words, but they were two levels of sound. And I looked over at you. You were amazed. I was amazed, and you said, "Well, sure, Cheryl, I'm many different people." I said, "No, Jack, you're channeling."
I was a witness to this. You channeled the spirit of Malcolm, because I remember one specific time where, we went to Malcolm's speeches, and once you finished with the text, you kept on going. Right. And we I didn't say cut. right. We kept loading the camera. We kept loading the camera, and there were many times in that film where we all had to pinch ourselves because we thought we saw the reincarnation of Malcolm. It wasn't about impersonation,
Trying to capture the spirit.
And just...
Oscar award-winning actor Denzel Washington told 60 Minutes exactly how he brings forth his best performances.
Basically what I did was got on my knees and sort of communicated with the spirits. And when I came out, I was in charge.
Powerful scene.
Powerful scene. I couldn't have acted that.
It is the opening of a very demonic door. Beware of this. This is a complete practice designed to draw people away from Yah. Don't just beware of it for yourself doing it. Beware of the influence you are receiving from a person who says they are doing the practicing of channeling as well. Remember what Yah said in his word. Give no regard to mediums and familiar spirits. Do not seek after them to be defiled by them. I am Yahuwah, your Elohim. That's Leviticus chapter 19, verse 31. Then we'll go to horoscopes and astrology. This is another New Age practice that has gained popularity. The horoscope, or birth chart, is a prediction based on a diagram of the various fake planetary positions and the stars relative to the signs of the zodiac. The word horoscope, as it is used today, refers to general predictions found in stores, newspapers, magazines, on TV, and now they come directly to our smartphones. This practice of prediction of future events, whether individually or a group, is rooted in the ancient practice of astrology, which is foretelling the future based on the position of stars and planets. Astrology was an ancient occult practice used to determine the spiritual power of certain times because of the alignment of the stars. You see, I cannot deny that people born during certain times often have similar traits. Perhaps Yah made us this way. But I don't care about all those signs and what astrologers tie into it. We must stay away from all these practices. This is not done through the power of Yah, but attaching themselves to spiritual hosts of wickedness. Then we'll go to spirit guides. Spirit guides are referred to by those involved in the occult as guardian angels, invisible helpers, or even mischievous spirits. They are often contacted through meditation, a practice that appears harmless on the surface, but encourages its practitioners to clear their minds completely and open themselves to whatever may contact them. According to New Age teachers, spirit guides teach many positive things, such as unconditional love, and they are readily available 24 hours a day to help mankind succeed. The danger of these spirit guides cannot be overemphasized. There is nothing biblically sound in reference to a spirit guide. There are only demons waiting for people to open themselves up to their influence. The assertions of those involved in the occult that human spirits need to be guided toward the light, or there are good spirit guides and bad spirit guides, these are dangerous, mistaken thoughts. Let me put it plain and simple. People are just opening themselves up to demonic forces that are all about leading people to be demonically controlled. This is why we must test the spirit and not try to come to deal in the spiritual realm away from the power of Yah. You do not need a spirit guide. You need the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, the set-apart spirit. And these are just a few examples of tools that are used in the occult to bring someone under demonic influence. But it's not just these tools that are bringing the New Age into the minds of the unsuspecting masses. It's also about mindsets and beliefs. You see, people have been introduced to Eastern spiritual philosophies that they have not ever understood. For the most part, the masses wouldn't go and sit under the Dalai Lama and listen to his teachings, or sit in a spiritual room of monks and understand the teachings of Buddha. But nevertheless, there is a strong majority that use these Eastern spirituality teachings, but don't look at it as that. There is something going around that has really promoted a false way of thinking that has brought in New Age Eastern philosophical mindsets that are all about attracting unknown spirits. The practices are done through using affirmations, visualization, and working in the power of manifestation. In reference to affirmations, they are declarations to yourself and the universe of your intentions to make something true. A spiritual affirmation is usually a sentence or phrase that you repeat regularly to make a formal declaration to yourself and the universe of your intention for it to be the truth. Affirmations are New Age thought that refer primarily to what people are now labeling as the practice of positive thinking and self-empowerment. People claim it to be fostering a belief that a positive mental attitude supported by affirmations will achieve success in anything. New Age affirmations come in different forms, like spiritual talks, lectures, classes, affirmative images, affirmative words, affirmative videos, mantra chants, daily mantra readings. People actually call a spiritual guide to speak positive words of affirmation so they believe in themselves. Affirmations are now just a part of mainstream thought. And right along with affirmations is the practice of visualization. Mental imaging or visualization is a common practice in the occult. One holds an image in their mind, and as they envision it each day and meditate on it, it becomes clearer and it will come to pass. This is another New Age technique. This goes into the concept of the power of positive thinking, a book written by Freemason Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, who Trump said was his favorite pastor.
I'm Protestant, I'm Presbyterian, and I go to church and I love God and I love my church. And Norman Vincent Peale, the great Norman Vincent Peale, was my pastor.
In his book, Positive Imaging, Dr. Peale says, there is a powerful and mysterious force in human nature, a kind of mental engineering, a powerful new old idea. The concept is a form of mental activity called imaging. It consists of vividly picturing in your conscious mind a desired goal or objective, and holding that image until it sinks into your unconscious mind, where it releases great untapped energies. When the imaging concept is applied steadily and systematically, it solves problems, strengthens personalities, improves health, and greatly enhances the chances for success in any kind of endeavor. The ideas of imaging have been around for a long time, and it has been implicit in all the speaking and writing I have done in the past. Peale's spirituality was a blend of Christian Science and mind science teachings with a dash of Christian terminology. But make no mistake, what he is teaching is the occult teaching of visualization. It's repeatedly and consistently creating a very clear mental image of an object or goal desired, and then believing that if you create the image with enough fervor and mental clarity, it will help the thing to occur in reality. Affirmations go hand in hand with this practice of visualization. This is really big. There are people who actually sit in front of televisions looking at affirmative imagery, guiding them to where they want to go. People go to spiritual retreats. They take classes. They will listen to this stuff while they're asleep, allowing the messages to feed their subconscious. This is really no joke. If you just search for affirmation videos on YouTube, there's a whole spiritual section you may not even know exists. Don't search it though. You see it here. You don't want it in your algorithm for them to suggest it to you. Affirmations and visualization all go together with the power of manifestation. Now, manifestation, also known as the law of attraction, was made popular by the occult book, The Secret, which really changed everything about what people could and should accept in New Age thought. Oprah was a huge influence in spreading this.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
This is such a surreal moment for me because, Oprah, you're my vision board for
Am I?
2018.
Really?
And I am here, so I have manifested this moment.
Congratulations. You know, but I don't vision board anymore because I am a powerful manifester, and I know that, and I know how to do it without physically putting it on a board. I know how. You have to. You want to know how to do it?
Absolutely.
You have to meet the vibration. You can't be above or below it. It's just what I was talking about: negative energy, positive energy. In order to draw the thing to you that you want to come, you can't want it so much that you fear that you won't get it.
Manifesting is labeled as turning your dreams into reality. People often don't even recognize it is a thought and practice made popular even by Disney, who talked about when you make a wish upon a star and anything your heart desires will come to you. They've been pushing this thought for decades. But again, manifestation is bringing something tangible into your life through attraction and belief, i.e., if you think it, it will come. Angelina Lombardo, the author of A Spiritual Entrepreneur, says, manifesting is making everything you want to feel and experience a reality via your thoughts, actions, beliefs, and emotions. This is the belief. It sounds simple, but it's very dark practice that people have accepted because people are desperately trying to achieve success in this fallen world. And when someone teaches you that all you need to do is think positive and declare it, people who need it to happen fast flock to these type of teachings. Now let me be clear. I am not against positive thinking. Don't mistake what you hear in this part and just assume that I am just a negative person and I'm just trying to limit the power of Yah. That's unfortunately what people in this new age actually think. That God wants them to have these things and all they need to do is think positive and manifest them. I mean, look at this IG post. It says, God says. I mean, look at all these examples. I'm not going to read them and declare are they garbage, but all of this is what people are seeing, waking up and reading morning mantras. You have celebrities and IG influencers who literally post this as a secret of how they made it. You have television shows showing that they do this and they are successful. You have people all the time talking about them manifesting this and then manifesting that.
Yeah, and I also feel that things that I repetitively think about or say, I'm able to manifest. Like, this house, for example, I manifested this.
But most people can't sustain that level of discipline to manifest the things that they want in their life.
Well, I will say that the cover of Sports Illustrated and the cover of Vogue were on my vision board.
Really?
Yes.
You made vision boards?
Yes, that's my whole message. Speak what you want, make it your truth, and it will come true. It took me 2 years. It took the vision board that I still have up 2 years. And that doesn't matter because patience will bring you so much more.
I have so many affirmations that I do, and I've done affirmations for a long time. I believe that how you think, and I teach my kids this, your thoughts create your life, and so you have to think positive thoughts.
This is all New Age thought that has been normalized so much that people don't recognize what they're actually doing. They just accepted it like it's a new fad, like it's a new style. It's crazy. Now let me say the most important and yet the most disrespectful part of all of this. The danger in these teachings is not just about thinking positive. It's where the source of the power comes from. You see, I can always think positively that Yah has got my back and is always my source, and that I can do all things through Messiah who strengthens me. That's not even thinking positively though, but just walking in faith and trust of my Creator. But either way, in the power of positive thinking, the power source is not God, though people like to declare it is. Everyone loves saying things like, well, look at God, stuff like that. But in affirmations, manifesting, and visualization, and all other techniques and practices that go along with that, Yah is not the source of power. People are tapping into the power of their own minds to create a new reality for themselves. That's why the metaverse is going to work for the masses, but that's another subject. On page 1 of Dr. Peel's Power of Positive Thinking book, we see, believe in yourself, have faith in your abilities. You see, this is the kind of thing that could really deceive many, because it sounds like good advice. Believe in yourself and in your abilities. But this is not what we are taught by our Creator. This is what the enemy teaches. We are not to believe in the power of ourselves. That's pride. Lucifer has pride. We believe in Yahusha, and we're to be led by the Holy Spirit. By walking and attaching into these practices, we are taking the will of Yah away, and we are actually attempting to force his will with our own persistent thoughts. Like, we're going to make Yah do this for us. We are actually telling Yah what we want him to do for us, instead of bringing ourselves to him and allowing him to direct us in what he wants us to do for him. Everyone is becoming their own gods, and it's really disrespectful to our Creator. But if you're watching this video at this point, it's likely that you probably understand that point and you care about it. But for the masses, being that Yah is being forgotten in this society, or he's being transformed into some kind of genie in a bottle that grants the wishes of everyone's hearts and desires, or because people have placed themselves in the seat of God, believing they themselves are gods, little g, masters of their destinies, captains of their fate, most people probably don't care about the true will of the Most High, and it's really sad. So besides the fact that by using the belief in affirmations, by using visualization techniques, and moving through the power of manifestation is making people their own gods, creating their own wills, there is still a deep spiritual aspect to it all. Understand, if you are moving by your own will and not moving by Yah, then something else is now coming in and applying their power. If you remember what I spoke about earlier with energy, if it isn't by the power of Yahuwah, it is by the agent of darkness, Satan. And that is what people are not seeing. By using these techniques and working through the power of manifestation, you are calling upon spirits and demons to move for you in the spiritual realm. This is not the power of the Most High, but the power of darkness, the power of Satan. And the harder you believe and push it, the more access you are giving them to take over through you. That's why the teachers of these techniques always tell these people to believe harder and push harder, go harder. Many of these teachers are complete spiritists, alchemists. They are tied into esotericism and the occult.
That the biblical God we have is a kind of starter kit, really.
I love that. The biblical God is a starter kit.
Yes.
I love that.
They understand that they're tapping on the spiritual realm. And even though people know that they are calling it spirituality, they many times are not fully aware of the false spirits that they are calling upon. By moving through the power of manifestation, using affirmations, visualization, crystals, your horoscope, etc., you are giving yourself up to demonic entities that are going to move and work through you. And understand this clearly. The harder you push, the more you are giving them access to you. And for many people, while they feel they are moving closer to the goal that they had, they don't realize that the rest of their life is falling apart. And it's the demons and spirits that they have given access to their life, it's them that are now in complete control and tearing them apart. And they often are completely trapped, and most of the time don't even recognize where it's coming from. The classic example of this is Kanye West. Yeah, I was very reluctant to watch that series on Netflix, but then a friend of mine said I really should because I may be able to see things differently. And I was happy for the recommendation, though I didn't see anything differently more than how bad Kanye needs prayer. And he needs a real introduction to Yahusha, a real introduction. But I said this in my first video about him. But my point in bringing him up as an example is if you watch in the beginning, you see someone who's forcing his will. He desired to be famous, a world known for his gifts.
What I'm doing right now, the music I'm dropping, I want it. I want the #1 spot. I will have it.
I mean, the man was writing Grammy speeches while he was a nobody. He was visualizing and affirming and working on manifesting his goals and dreams. And he was relentless with it. All the way until he got there and his life fell apart and he became trapped by the demons he allowed in to take him there. He would always talk about God, but if you have the slightest amount of discernment, you can see that the God he was referring to was not the Most High. He needed a real introduction to the Most High, and he still does, but he is completely trapped in bondage by massive demons. He is completely in a sunken place, and you can see it. And that sunken place isn't that mind control stuff, though that's a part of it. That is demonic control. It's because he was tapping into a false power trying to manifest his dreams. If you remember, he even made a song about power, where he was in the gates of hell. I feel really bad for this guy, honestly. He needs prayer. So if you are ever inclined, pray for the man Kanye West, who is spiritually bound by demons. I do not think he knew what he was asking for when he was tapping into it. And that's why he's a great example, because he is at the top, and it's very plain to see. He got all he desired, the fame, the fortune, but he's completely gone. I'm not even really sure if it's really him and he wasn't cloned, but that's another story. Please don't lose focus from that point, please. All I'm saying is look at him. Matter of fact, look at most celebrities and listen to their stories of their rise to fame. And it's often the same stories. But these people are the most unhappy, depressed, drug abused, suicidal, isolated, etc., etc. Most of these people are the most unhappiest people you could ever meet. On pain medications, depression medications, you name it. Because they're just completely unhappy. But listen to how they got there. Listen to their stories. They did all those techniques of affirmations and visualization and manifesting and just tapping into the occult. There's so many stories of it. The power of manifestation, affirmations, visualizations, tools of the occult with crystals, charms, spells, etc. are all about tapping into spiritual wickedness to push your own will on the world. It is a very unholy activity that is far from being a blessing, but in fact you're asking for a curse. None of those techniques should ever, and I stress that sincerely, they should never be done. It only seems light and harmless because people aren't giving the masses full lessons on what they're actually doing. They are leaving out the side effects and the repercussions. You know, there was actually a movie about that recently. Yeah, it was that horrible Wonder Woman 2 movie where the guy wanted to be completely successful, so he became like a genie, granting everyone's wishes. But every time he granted a wish from their heart, it came at a price for both him and them. They never knew that by their wish being granted, they were losing out in the world. And it happened so much that the world was completely in shambles. War was about to happen, and everyone was fighting with each other. That movie was a metaphor of the world we are in now. So listen, it is very important that you understand the spiritual effects to the activities that you're engaging in. The New Age is all about introducing the world into false spirituality that taps into demonic power, that is giving rise to the power of Lucifer. And if your eyes are the least bit open, you can see that the world is getting more darker and eviler by the minute. People are not getting closer to Yah, the Most High, more than they are attaching themselves to spirituality, attaching themselves to demons. I guarantee that if you've been on social media, you have seen posts about people talking about manifesting, people waking up and moving with their affirmations, people wearing crystals, people always looking at their horoscopes, people looking for spirit guides. It's literally everywhere. And like I said, the world is getting darker by the minute. It's because people are tapping into dark powers that they are completely unaware of. And again, make sure you understand this. It's not just the people that are proclaimed witches and pagans that are doing this. It's everyday people. It's people that believe that they are Christians. It's a lot. It's the masses. It's literally impossible for me to break this all down in one video like this. There's so much more to say on this, so I will let Father lead my next steps. What I want to stress is that in this day and age, we must be really diligent about what we allow in our lives, the objects that we hold, the thoughts that we have, and the actions that we take. Things that may be deemed as positive or harmless are actually very negative and quite dangerous. The New Age contains many tools, mindsets, practices, and actions that are all about tapping into spiritual power that is destructive. The end goal of it all is to bring separation between people and Yah. It is all about bringing people into the age of Aquarius, preparing people for their Maitreya, who you know as the Antichrist. You must be very careful about spirituality and all those objects and symbols that come along with it. Don't just accept it or look at it as harmless or just whatever. You're in the end times. You need to be diligent. You must be very careful with dealing with those that you know that are using these objects and symbols and techniques. Ask them if they know what they're doing with those things. Like if you see a coworker or friend wearing a crystal, don't just ignore it. Ask them why they wear it. Be very careful in dealing with them too if they know specifically why. Like if you hear them mention power or because of spirits, know that they have obviously dug deeper into this and you need to be careful around them. Pray for them. And those that say that they thought it was cool or just following a fad or just ignorant to it all, try to show them this video maybe. And then after it, have a discussion. If you're able to minister to someone involved in the New Age, do so as Father leads. But please know and understand that these people have opened doorways to spirits and demons that are often moving and acting through them. Be careful how you interact with these spirits and be careful on what you allow in your life. Watch your physical contact with them, shaking hands, giving hugs, all that stuff. Taking gifts from them. Make sure you don't take gifts from these people. And if you have to receive the gift from them, throw it away. This is exactly how the spreading of demons happens. If you're involved in these things and believe it's what you want to label Christian, understand that label of Christian doesn't even matter. It's about, is it biblically sound, and is it about Father's will? Everything we do must be done through the power of the Most High. Remember with your thoughts that we must bring it to the obedience of Messiah. Remember that what we are dealing in this world is spiritual, though we can only see it through the physical at this point. Through the power of the Holy Spirit, according to the will of the Most High, is how we should always move. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war according to the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty in Elohim, for pulling down strongholds, casting down arguments, and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of Elohim, bringing every thought into captivity to the obedience of Messiah, and being ready to punish all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. That's 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verses 3 through 6. Listen, we don't need crystals or astrology or spirit guides, charms, magic spells, and powerful thought techniques in order for our lives to bear fruit and be happy and have power. We have power through Messiah and the gift of the Holy Spirit. Listen, in this video, I've given scriptures about what Yah doesn't want from us in regards to all that evil. He spoke directly against it to the Israelites, so this is not up for discussion or debate. Beware of the New Age and all the spirituality that is attached to it. Beware of the evil that is running rampant in this world. Put on the armor of Elohim and protect yourselves from the wicked one. Yah is calling us to be separate, so move according to his calling. It's time to live out your life as a true believer and do not fall prey to the enemy. We are in the last days. Make sure you stand firm in the will of Yah and be a called out, set apart believer. Remember, as a believer, you are the light of the world. So please continue to shine your light bright so that this darkness cannot spread further. Be blessed. Hallelujah. Praise Yah. Okay, thanks again for watching. If this has blessed you, please make sure to like it and share it with others. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you subscribe to this channel. Elohim willing, I upload every Friday. Don't forget to follow this ministry on Facebook and Instagram, as well as on my website, truthunedited.com. As always, I would like to give a special thank you to those who have donated and contributed to this ministry. Your contribution and support are a huge blessing to this ministry. I thank you sincerely for your obedience to God's call on your heart. I'm humbled by your support and very thankful for you. Okay, thanks again everyone for watching. I love you all.